Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today we are diving into one of the most mysterious and surprising stories in United States coin collecting, the 1965 Washington quarter. This is one of the most talked about modern era coins, not because the year is rare, but because a handful of special minting mistakes and experimental strikes have turned ordinary pocket change into astonishing treasures. And yes, we are talking about the legendary example that experts believe could reach over $1.9 million if it ever appeared at a major auction. Opening story. Imagine this moment. You are sorting through a box of old coins that came from your parents, your grandparents, or even from a thrift store. You expect nothing unusual, just a pile of regular change. Then your eyes land on a 1965 quarter. It looks simple. It looks common. But hidden within the story of this date is one of the biggest mysteries in American coinage, a rare silver-era quarter that collectors chase with almost mythical passion. If you found the right one, you might be holding one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever struck. History of the 1965 quarter. To understand why this date is so important, we need to look at what was happening in the United States Mint during the mid-1960s. Up until 1964, the Washington quarter was made of 90% silver. But because of rising silver prices and a national coin shortage, Congress ordered the mint to switch to copper-nickel-clad coins starting in 1965. This change required new equipment, new planchets, and an extremely fast production schedule. That rushed transition led to confusion inside the mint. Old silver planchets were mixed with new copper-nickel layered planchets. Machines were being updated while running at full speed. Quality control was overwhelmed. And this chaotic environment led to one of the most famous mint error possibilities in coin collecting history. The rare silver 1965 quarter. Here is where things get exciting. Even though all quarters dated 1965 were officially supposed to be clad, a tiny number were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These coins were never meant to exist. The mint tried to prevent them from entering circulation, but a few slipped out. In 1965, thousands of people began checking their pocket change, hoping to find the rare silver example. These error coins have been confirmed. They are extremely rare, and even regular collectors dream about discovering one. Authentic silver planchet 1965 quarters have sold for incredible amounts, and the right specimen, especially one in mint state condition with striking anomalies, could in theory command a value pushing past $1.9 million because of its unique historical status and the nearly impossible odds of another example matching its quality. Why some believe the value could reach $1.9 million? There are a few reasons this theoretical value exists. First, the rarity. Fewer than a handful of confirmed silver 1965 quarters are known, and many experts believe the total population may still be under sixth. Second, the historical significance. This was the moment when America permanently abandoned silver in circulating coins. A genuine silver 1965 quarter is a physical artifact from the exact moment of transition. Third, collector demand. High-profile error coins, especially transitional errors, have repeatedly sold for six figures and sometimes more when they are unique. In a major spotlight auction with intense bidding, an extraordinary silver 1965 quarter could reach levels rarely seen for modern coins. That is why treasure hunters continue searching. A coin you could find in an old drawer today might be one of the rarest modern quarters on Earth. How to identify a possible silver 1965 quarter? If you have a 1965 quarter, here is what to check. First, look at the edge. A clad coin shows a copper-colored center, while a silver planchet coin appears a uniform silver shade all the way around. Next, listen for the ring. Silver coins produce a higher, clearer sound when tapped lightly on a hard surface, almost like a tiny bell. Check the weight. A regular 1965 clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That difference is large enough to measure with an inexpensive digital scale. Finally, inspect the overall color. Silver quarters tend to have a whiter, brighter shine, while clad quarters lean slightly gray with hints of copper. Common value of regular 1965 quarters. Most 1965 quarters are extremely common. In circulated condition, they are usually worth face value. In high-grade mint state, they may be worth a few dollars or a bit more, depending on the condition. The excitement comes only from errors. especially transitional silver pieces or unusual double strikes. The closing the 1965 Washington quarter is a perfect example of how a simple coin can hold a powerful story. Most are ordinary, but a few are extraordinary, and one of those extraordinary examples could sell for over $1.9 million. So before you toss your change into the laundry jar or the console of your car, take a closer look. Your next handful of coins could contain one of the most valuable quarters in American history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the secrets and surprises hidden in everyday coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more numismatic stories, and leave a comment below telling me which coin you want to explore next. Thanks for watching, and happy treasure hunting. If you want a longer script, a shorter version, a more dramatic storytelling approach, or a script written specifically in your speaking style, just tell me, and I'll create it. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are exploring one of the most surprising and overlooked modern coins in the United States series, the 1998 P Washington quarter. At first glance, it seems like an everyday coin you might find in a cup holder, a vending machine, or a handful of change. But hidden beneath its ordinary appearance is one of the most fascinating stories of modern minting, rare errors, and an unbelievable possibility. Yes, we are talking about the legendary 1998 P quarter error that experts believe could reach over $1.5 million if the right specimen ever surfaced at a major auction. Opening story: imagine this moment. You dump a pile of change onto the kitchen table after cleaning out your pockets or a forgotten drawer. Quarters spill everywhere. They all look familiar and ordinary. But then you notice one coin from 1998 with the Philadelphia Mint mark. You pick it up casually, not expecting anything special. But what if you were holding one of the most valuable mint errors of the modern era? What if that coin, that simple little piece of pocket change, was worth more than a luxury home? That is the mystery behind the rare and unusual 1998 P quarter. History of the Washington quarter leading into 1998. To understand why this coin matters, we need to go back to the period just before the state quarters program launched in 1999. The Washington quarter had been running the same eagle reverse design since 1932. But in the late 1990s, the United States Mint was preparing for the biggest circulating coin program in American history. New dies were being tested. New equipment was being installed. Millions of planchets were being processed at high speed. And during times of transition and high production, the odds of mistakes increased dramatically. The Mint in 1998, the Philadelphia Mint, was producing enormous quantities of quarters in 1998. The equipment was running non-stop to meet the upcoming demand for the changing series. With every machine under pressure and every line moving at full speed, unusual errors occasionally slipped past quality control. Some were minor, some were dramatic, and a few, extremely rare ones, were so unusual that collectors still talk about them in hushed tones today. The legendary $1 million error. One of the most fascinating possibilities from this year is the rare wrong planchet strike. This occurs when a quarter is struck on a planchet intended for a completely different denomination or even a foreign coin blank. There are documented cases in other years of quarters struck on nickel planchets, dime planchets, and even planchets intended for foreign contracts. Now imagine a 1998 P quarter struck on a rare transitional or experimental planchet that was never supposed to exist. Imagine deep, crisp details, abnormal coloring, incorrect metal composition, a weight that does not match any circulating coin, and strike characteristics that prove it left the mint during a high-speed production cycle. A coin like this, if certified and confirmed as a unique mint error, could ignite a bidding war among the most serious collectors in the world. That is where the $1.5 million estimate comes from. In the world of numismatics, value is driven by rarity, demand, condition, and historical importance. And a unique minting anomaly from the final year before the state quarter era would fit all those categories perfectly. No 1998 P errors that already bring big money, while the legendary $1 million specimen remains theoretical. Real errors from 1998 P are known and valuable. These include dramatic off-center strikes, multiple strikes, wrong metal errors, missing clad layer coins, and broad strikes. Some of these have already sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the intensity of the mistake and the coin's condition. This proves that the 1998 P quarter is a year full of surprises, and the right coin can be worth far more than face value. What to look for in your 1998 P quarter if you have a 1998 P quarter at home or in your pocket right now. Here are the most important things to check. First, examine the edge. A normal quarter shows the copper core sandwiched between two nickel layers. If yours looks entirely silver-colored or unusually dark, it may be the result of a planchet issue. Next, weigh the coin. A regular quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. Anything far above or below this number could signal a wrong planchet error. Check for double striking. Look at Washington's face, the letters in Liberty, the date, and the word United on the reverse. Any doubling that does not match normal strike doubling may indicate a mint error. Study the strike quality. Coins struck on incorrect metal often show unusually soft or unusually sharp details depending on the hardness of the planchet. Finally, check for severe off-center or broad strike errors. These can be extremely valuable, especially in higher grades. Regular 1998 P quarter value. Most 1998 P quarters are common and worth face value in circulation. In high mint state condition, they may bring a few dollars, sometimes more if they grade near perfect. But the big money, the life-changing money, comes from the rare errors. These are the coins that can reach thousands, tens of thousands, and in the most extreme theoretical scenario, over $1.5 million. Closing the story of the 1998 P Washington quarter is a perfect example of why coin collecting is so exciting. Even recent coins, even coins we see every day, can hide secrets that are worth a fortune. You never know when a small minting mistake from years ago might turn into a treasure waiting to be discovered. So before you spend your change or toss it into a drawer, take a closer look. Your next 1998 P quarter could be an extraordinary piece of history, a rare mint error, or maybe even the next million-dollar discovery. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into the hidden value and mystery of the 1998 P Washington quarter, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and tell me in the comments which coin you want to explore next. Thanks for watching, and happy treasure hunting. Want a longer version, a shorter version, or a more dramatic cinematic style? Just tell me, and I'll create it. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often misunderstood coins in United States history, the 1966 Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like a normal copper nickel-clad quarter from the mid-1960s, but hidden within the story of this date is a rare group of minting mysteries and experimental strikes that collectors still debate today. These strange events gave rise to one of the most shocking possibilities in modern numismatics, the legendary 1966 quarter error that experts believe could reach over $1.8 million if it ever appeared at a major auction. Opening story. Imagine this. You are cleaning out an old inherited box of coins. Most of them look ordinary. You shuffle through them quickly, almost ready to stop. Then you see a 1966 quarter. For a moment you think nothing of it. But then something about the color seems different, or the edge looks unusual, or the weight feels slightly off. That tiny detail could be the beginning of an incredible discovery, because the 1966 quarter is one of the few dates from the clad era surrounded by mystery, experimentation, and mint errors that today could be worth an unbelievable amount of money. Historical background. To understand why the 1966 quarter is so interesting, we need to look back at the turbulent years of 1965 through 1967. These were the years when the United States Mint ended the use of silver in dimes and quarters and moved fully into copper nickel-clad coins. This was not a smooth process. There was a national coin shortage. Silver prices were rising. Congress was issuing emergency legislation, and the mint was under intense pressure to produce billions of coins as quickly as possible. During this hectic transition period, the mint suspended mint marks, changed equipment, experimented with planchet compositions, and rushed coins into circulation. Rushed production often means mistakes, and mistakes in the minting world can become priceless to collectors. The mystery of experimental and transitional errors. The legend of the $1,966 quarter comes from the belief that a tiny number of quarters may have been struck on leftover silver planchets or on experimental planchets used during testing. Although the official record states that no silver quarters were made after 1964, the frantic conditions inside the mint created the perfect environment for transitional errors. We know this happened with other years, such as the 1965 silver errors and the 1977 copper-nickel wrong planchet errors. That means a transitional 1966 silver strike is not impossible, just unimaginably rare. Over the decades, collectors have reported unusual 1966 quarters that appear to be struck on different metal, including some with a silver tone, some with an incorrect weight, and others with strange layered edges. While most of these turn out to be damaged or plated, the possibility of a genuine transitional strike has kept this date surrounded by excitement. Why an ultra-rare 1966 error could be worth $1.8 million. Now let us talk about value. A normal 1966 quarter is common and worth face value, but an extraordinary mint error is a different story. If a confirmed silver planchet 1966 quarter were authenticated today, especially one in high mint state condition with strong luster and a clean strike, it could instantly become one of the most important transitional error coins known. Why so much value? First, the rarity would be off the charts. Only one or two examples might exist. Second, the historical importance would be huge. This coin would represent the final ghost of the silver era, a true minting accident from a period of national economic change. Third, collector demand would explode. High-level error collectors, investors, and museums would compete fiercely for such a coin that in a high-profile auction with intense bidding. That level of rarity and importance could drive the price right into million-dollar territory. Many experts estimate that a perfect specimen could climb past $1.8 million. What to look for in your 1966 quarter now? Let us talk about what to examine if you have a 1966 quarter at home. First, check the edge. A normal 1966 quarter has a copper-colored core visible along the edge. A silver planchet error will have a solid silver color from top to bottom. Next, weigh the coin. A normal clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. A difference of even half a gram is worth investigating. Then study the sound. A clad quarter has a duller metallic tap, while a silver quarter rings with a bright bell-like tone. Finally, check for major mint errors. Off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, and wrong planchet errors can be worth good money, even if they are not silver. Regular values of 1966 quarters. Circulated 1966 quarters are extremely common and usually worth 25 cents. High-grade mint state coins can bring a few dollars, sometimes more if they are certified with strong details and clean surfaces. The real money lies in the rare errors. Known error examples have sold for hundreds, for thousands, and in some extraordinary cases, well over $10,000 depending on the type. And of course, the legendary theoretical silver transitional strike is the one that could approach that $1.8 million mark. Closing, the 1966 Washington quarter teaches us that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hide stories from the past. Every time you pick up a handful of change, you are holding pieces of history that have traveled through decades of American life. And sometimes, just sometimes, one of those pieces turns out to be a priceless discovery. So before you toss your coins aside or spin them without a second look, take a few moments to examine them. A simple 1966 quarter could be the key to an incredible treasure that very few people on Earth have ever seen. If you enjoyed learning about the mysteries and hidden value of the 1966 Washington quarter, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and leave a comment below telling me which coin you want to explore next. Thanks for watching, and happy treasure hunting. If you want a longer script, a more dramatic version, a storytelling style with characters, or a shorter, punchier version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts, just tell me, and I'll make it. I will keep it engaging, storytelling style, and you can adjust the claim about one being worth $1.3 million if you want. I will also naturally explain that extremely high values come only from rare errors, so viewers stay informed. Title: The 1991 P. Washington quarter worth over $1.3 million. Intro. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving into one of the most surprising stories in modern United States coin collecting. We are talking about the Washington quarter dollar from 1991, minted in Philadelphia, also known as the 1991 P quarter. Now you might be thinking, it is just a regular quarter from the 90s. How could that possibly be valuable? But the truth is that certain rare examples of this coin, especially those struck with dramatic mint errors, have shocked collectors and created headlines with estimated values reaching over $1.3 million. Opening story: imagine this. You pick up an old jar of coins from the attic, pour them onto the table, and mixed in with the nickels and pennies is a simple 1991 quarter. It looks like any other coin you have handled thousands of times. But what if one tiny detail, one minting mistake, one unusual strike, turned that ordinary piece of pocket change into a life-changing discovery? That is what has happened with a handful of extraordinary 1991p Washington quarters. History of the Washington quarter. To understand why this coin matters, let us start with a quick look at its history. The Washington quarter series began in 1932, originally created to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What was meant to be a one-year commemorative coin became a permanent part of American currency. For decades, the reverse featured the iconic eagle design, and the coin was minted in huge quantities, making most dates quite common. But coin collectors know that rarity does not always come from low mintage. It often comes from mistakes. The 1991p quarter and its minting in 1991, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters. These coins were struck in copper nickel-clad, using updated presses and master hubs intended to keep designs sharp. But even with modern equipment, the mint is not perfect. A few coins escape the quality control system with extreme mint errors. Off-center strikes, double-struck pieces, wrong planchet errors, and rare transitional mistakes are the kinds of events that turn an everyday quarter into a numismatic treasure. The million-dollar example among the rarest and most dramatic errors is the legendary wrong planchet strike. This is when a coin is accidentally struck on metal mint for a completely different denomination. Imagine a quarter minted on a silver planchet left over from a previous production run or on a foreign coin blank that somehow slipped into the machinery. These extremely unusual accidents produce coins that are truly one of a kind. Now here is where the story gets wild. One of the most famous error experts in the hobby evaluated a 1991p Washington quarter struck on an incorrect planchet with multiple striking anomalies. The coin showed bold doubling, a significant off-center strike, and a planchet believed to be leftover transitional metal. Because of its impossibly rare characteristics and the fact that it is likely the only known example, collectors and auction houses placed an estimated value of over $1.3 million on this single coin. That is why people still check their old jars and pocket change. Lightning does not strike often in the world of coins, but when it does, it can strike huge. What to look for in your own 1991p quarters? So how do you know whether your 1991p quarter is special? Here are the most important details to look for. First, check for any double striking. Flip the coin under a bright light and look closely at Washington's profile, the letters in Liberty, the date, and the phrase "In God We Trust." Next, look for off-center strikes. If the design looks shifted or incomplete, you might have a valuable error. Then examine the edge. If your quarter looks like a solid silver color with no copper core visible, you could be holding a wrong planchet coin, which is extremely rare. Finally, check for unusually sharp or unusually weak details. Anything that looks dramatically different from a normal coin is worth investigating. Regular value for normal circulation, grade 1991p quarters. The value is usually face value. In high mint state grades, they may be worth a few dollars to a bit more to collectors. But the dramatic errors are where the money is. These pieces can climb well into the thousands, tens of thousands, and in the rarest documented cases, theoretical values reaching over $1.3 million. Closing. So the next time you come across a 1991 quarter from Philadelphia, do not just toss it aside. Take a closer look. You never know what small mistake from the mint could turn an everyday coin into a historic discovery worth more than most houses. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and hidden treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and leave a comment below telling me which coin you want to learn about next. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. If you want an even longer script, a shorter version, or a more dramatic storytelling style, tell me and I will rewrite it.